the state, I is here with the Right Honorable Speaker and members of the State Assembly. Thank you very sincerely. And the Chief Judge of Edo State that is here, and so many former Chief Judges of the state, about 2 or 3 that I've interacted with. Let me sincerely appreciate their being here. Our Honorable Minister of Regional Development, I'm happy to see you. Thank you for coming. And there are 3 former governors here. Incidentally, I had some interactions with them before this time. Let me first appreciate Lucky Benedio. When I was a deputy governor, Mike was a deputy governor, he was our governor, so I was his deputy. Lucky, thank you for coming. And we've had that relationship till today. And Senator Osmo, yes. Senator Osmo, because I'm not seeing it. Yes, Senator Osmo, thank you for coming. Senator Osmo, do you remember the first time we met? You must have forgotten. The first time we met was when I was deputy governor of Bayelsa State. You were the Senate chairman of corruption, whatever, I can't remember. But then they invited Alamisi, my governor then, to give a keynote speech somewhere in Abuja. He was out of the country, so I came. I remember when I finished speaking, you said you are not going to read your speech again. That was the first time I had encountered you too. But thank you for coming. And Dakwabo, who was our accountant general of the federation, who I interacted with before I became the governor of Gombe State. Thank you for coming. Very senior people will have to appreciate the chief celebrant, my good friend Michael Gadome, and the spouse Christian, my younger sister, and the whole family. And one person we revered, Obasanjo, and Obasanjo. Our political leader, Chief Architect Tommy Kibi, thank you. My good friend and my Mike Zakome, SAN, thank you. I have to thank all of you here. Very senior Nigerians have been recognized by the Master of Ceremony. I cannot do more so that we don't stay here for too long. I'm happy to be here to flag off this ceremony to celebrate Mike at 70. Sometimes when you say you're going for somebody's 70th birthday, you get worried. Because the Bible has some kind of stories about 70 years. Because if you read Psalm 90 verse 10, it talks about 3 scores and 10. That means that when you reach 70, you should be prepared to be buried. So when you are going for 70th birthday, it's always difficult. What will you say now? Because the man by the biblical standard is supposed to be waiting to die. But looking at the Bible itself, if you go to Genesis chapter 6 verse 3, it talks about 120 years, that we can live for 120 years. So Mike still have another 50 years to live. Minimum. So we thank God that the Bible is a book that balances everything, and that we're supposed not to die at 70. We can live up to 120 years. We thank God for Mike. If you look at the way I appear, I normally don't appear this way in ceremonies. I used to wear a full traditional dress. But I decided to appear like my friend from Access Bank this way, because to remind me of our days as a deputy governor. Because even my picture that he used for the program is the picture I took when I was a deputy governor. So he selected that picture when I was there. So if you look at that face, it's much younger than my current face. But Mike is somebody that it's difficult for me to place. As a human being from my primary school to the tertiary level and gotten involved in politics by divine providence from deputy governor to the president of this country, most presidents have today, it's one of the few friends I have that can give out their neck for me. Politics in the Nigerian standard is about betrayal. You find it difficult to see somebody who will say the same thing in the morning and say the same thing in the afternoon and the same thing in the evening. I've witnessed a lot of betrayals, especially my 2015 elections. And Mike is somebody who, I have other friends, but Mike is one person that will take a bullet on my behalf. So for occasion like this, I don't know how to comment, other people to speak. But for me, is somebody that you can take his word to the bank. You can take Mike's words to Access Bank. I'm saying the owner of Access Bank here. Most politicians, you cannot take their words to the bank. They will tell you something, the next 1 hour they are saying another, the next 1 hour they are saying another thing. Mike, you have tried, you're a honest person, you're a true Catholic. And I'm quite pleased to associate with you. In fact, whenever I come to Benin for programs, I used to sleep in his, I don't even sleep in the hotel. So this time around, because the children, grandchildren, everybody came, so I said, okay, please, let the children and grandchildren take the house I'm in the hotel. But that's how close we are. Now, Mike has been a good person, and for us to have the current Chief Justice of the state and about 3 former Chief Justices of the state here speaks volume. For us to have 3 former governors here speaks volume. And the caliber of people we see around here to celebrate Mike speaks volume. I'm happy to have such a person as a friend. And I cannot say much, but all what I will do is, like my good friend, Aswe Godalo is here, would have been a good governor of Edo State, but don't worry. So that's the reason for everything. Yes. And the deputy governor is here, so don't worry. God has a good reason for everything. Edo State is also, it's like my second state after Bayelsa because of Mike. Ordinarily, my wife is from Bayelsa, my wife is from River State. And I grew up in the old River State until Bayelsa State was created in 1996, because I became a deputy governor in 1999. But those states is almost like my second state because of the relationship I have with Mike Otiadomi. Mike, thank you for being a good boy. Not just a good boy, you're a good husband and a good father and a good grandfather. Because there's nothing about the family that you don't brief me. And I'm quite pleased with that. So let me, as the chairman of this occasion, while declaring the program open, thank all of you for coming to celebrate somebody that's so worthy to be celebrated. Thank you all.
One thing is very sure in politics. It is actually a game of trust, loyalty, and betrayal. And sometimes, the scars left behind never truly fade. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has finally opened up about how deeply betrayed he felt, especially during the 2014 presidential election, a time when the tide turned against him totally, and his closest allies, both within and outside his party, his own political party, seemed to abandon ship. But what does this statement really mean? And why is he bringing it up now? Now, let's just give a brief analysis on this. Jonathan's words cut deep because 2014 was the year his political empire began to crumble. He went into that election expecting loyalty, but what he got instead was a full-time sabotage, shifting alliances and hidden daggers. Many within his own political party worked against him, while external forces capitalized on his weakness. By expressing his feelings now, Jonathan may be, trying to set the record straight about what truly happened behind the scenes. It could also be a subtle, warning to today's politicians about the dangers of betrayal and misled trust in Nigerian politics, having been experienced in it. Another possible motive is to reposition himself, not necessarily as a contestant, but as a respected elder statesman. In other words, Jonathan is kind of reminding Nigerians of the wounds he endured, and perhaps painting himself as the man who understands betrayal better than anyone in today's politics. So, what do we hold on to this? Jonathan's revelation is more than just a confession. It is a lesson about the brutal nature of politics, where loyalty is fragile and betrayal is always around the corner. It could be for anyone. His words spark questions. Is he simply reflecting on the past, or is there a hidden message for the future? One thing is very clear. When a former president speaks of betrayal, every ear in the political arena listens carefully. What do you think? Was Jonathan betrayed, or was it just politics playing its own usual game? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course stay tuned for more political breakdowns. And thank you for watching.